Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your weekly DMV Sports Update. And I am your host, Sewall, checking in as I do each and every single Thursday to give you all the latest and greatest information on the hot topics in DMV sports. We're going to go back to this. Wait, first, wait a minute. No, I was about to bring something back, but I'm going to wait until we complete our housekeeping items. Let's do our housekeeping items first, shall we? Let's just get right on into the housekeeping items because I can have you all here for a long time. So let's go through this. This is a live Bowie television recording. Everything we say and do here just may end up on your television screens each and every single day on Verizon Channel 11 and Comcast Xfinity Channel 77, 1:30 to 2:30, Mondays through Fridays. And on the weekends, it comes on during the noon hour. So lock in. Make sure you're following the YouTube channel as well for Bowie TV. Bowie TV at BCMC TV Maryland. Make sure you're subscribed there as well. You all check in. If you're watching on Facebook, through Facebook Live, hit that love button. Share the show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. Say hello to Mama Waller and Pops Waller. If you're tuned in from YouTube, hello, YouTube subscribers and watchers. Drop a fire emoji so that I know you are tuned in, locked, and loaded. So, you all, it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot to discuss, but really only going to focus on two teams this week. Only going to focus on two teams, and that's the two teams that has the most going on. And because of those two teams and all they have going on, we're going to bring this back. We're going to bring this back. It's been a while since I posted that, right? When is there a dull moment in DC sports? Never. That's one streak right there that there's nothing we can do about. It's going to continue to happen as we saw this week. And even as the week has gone on, you all caught a reaction show with myself and colleague Darrell Owens. We did a show Tuesday at the NFL trade deadline. As soon as it was over, we did a show. And I hope you all watched that show, and I hope you all shared that show, and I hope you all learned some more information as a result of that show. But as the week goes on, there's still a lot to discuss. Just in the overall aftermath of the Commanders trade and what the vibe and overall just feeling is. And I see Cameron Mingo has joined. I see DJ Bland has joined. Cameron, if you missed that show, you can always catch it. Just go on down the line. You can go ahead and catch it. You need to go ahead and check that show out because it helps to bring light to this week and what happened earlier this week with the Commanders and the NFL trade deadline and the tradings of defensive ends. Yes, that is plural. Defensive ends, Montez Sweat and Chase Young. But before we get there, Wizards fans, I'm going to talk to you first. I'm going to talk to you first. 4 games into the season, the Wizards have faced the Indiana Pacers, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Boston Celtics, the Atlanta Hawks. They've won one of those games. Still early. We know the NBA season is long. But I definitely want you to drop into the chat, Wizards fans, how you are feeling so far about what you're seeing from the team. And while you're sharing what you're seeing from the team, let me share with you what I'm seeing. And here's another thing that is so important. You all make sure you're bookmarking the SI.com Inside the Wizards page. We're dishing out, shout out to all the writers on that page. We're dishing out a lot of content, you all. Every day, all throughout the week, on a variety of topics, all related to the Washington Wizards. So let's get into Wizards so far, only 4 games in. Here's one thing we do know about the Wizards. We know that they can score. They can absolutely score. Now, we know that Bilal Coulibaly, he's showing his defensive prowess, but the thing about it is these teams are kind of tough, aren't they? Early in the season, people putting it, they putting their chips in early. And we're talking Wizards now, but we will soon be switching over to the Commanders because we have a lot of content that we gathered this week that we want to share with you all. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and we know that the Memphis Grizzlies are already experiencing a variety of injuries. So the Wizards were able to come away with that one. But the Indiana Pacers, we know the Boston Celtics went all out. Shout out to Kristaps Porzingis, former Wizard, doing well in his new home with the Boston Celtics. Teammates were really happy to see him. All good. So, and then the Atlanta Hawks. And it's just going to be hard for the Wizards to find their footing, I believe, with such strong competitors in all of these teams. And yes, Kyle Kuzma has been consistent. So we're seeing a young team. We already knew this was a rebuild. Now it's been clear they're starting early. Even Kyle Kuzma, if you go and take a look through Kyle Kuzma's Instagram page, he shared it as well. In his captions, he's saying, give it some time. Give it some time. So that's what everyone is doing. But I can't help but to notice just how strong these teams are coming out overall to start the season out. These have been some high scoring games, offense galore. So any team is going to have to figure out some defense because everybody is just scoring lights out around here. That's with all the teams. And Boston is just so strong with their starting 5. I mean, I'm not here to talk Boston Celtics, but it's, barring any injury, we already know what type of time that's going to be on for sure. If everybody stays healthy with that team. And the season is long. So we know that they're going to be a threat this week. Even though the Wizards have not faced this team yet, we know that the Philadelphia 76ers have gone through some changes. Several of the Eastern Conference teams have gone through some changes. But Wizards are just going to have to be a wait and see. We knew that Kyle Kuzma was going to shine as the leader, right? So he's showing his consistency so far. Really like what I'm seeing out of Tyus Jones from a point guard perspective. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that happens. It's going to be interesting, and we just got to wait and see what happens. That's how I look at that. We just got to wait and see what happens. I would keep my expectations low. I really would. What I would be looking for, though, Wizards fans, is to see over time the player development. There's some things that have already happened. We've seen the team sign Denny Avdia, Corey Kispert, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and others. They're already saying this is the team and these are the team members that we want to invest in for an extended period of time. So I'm now interested in just seeing how they develop. We know that this is a team that has taken the effort to bring in coaches that have helped to develop some of the best players in this league with their former teams. So let's see how this goes. Let's see how even Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Poole, Denny Avdia. We know that Daniel Gafford is experiencing some injuries here and there. And he's been back and then he get injured. Let's just see Corey Kispert shooting lights out. Key factor in the Wizards win against the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm just here to see how this plays out. I'm just here to see how the players develop, because that was a key component of the guiding principles of the Wizards' new leadership. I want to see it. I want to see how they develop and see where that gets them. You know, slow and steady wins the race. So who knows? The Wizards could still be, they could. Of course, I've seen fans already saying, okay, they just bad. They're not going to win 25 games. They're not going to win it. Hey, I'm just here to really track the player development and, of course, say, here's some things that I really like, because we already knew it was going to be a rebuild year. They told us that. We know that. It wasn't like, hey, we hit it. We're not going to see what Boston is doing right now. We're not going to see moves being made necessarily to win right now. So patience is going to be key with this one. But do pay attention to how the players develop. I think that's going to be a key component of this season for sure. Now, Commanders fans, the rest of this is for you. The rest of this is for you. Week 9, Commanders going to Boston to face the new, while we were speaking about Boston a moment ago, going to face the New England Patriots. Because guess what? After all of these trades, like I posted on my page, guess what? Guess what? There's still games to play. There's still games to play. So let's just, now that everyone has gone through the initial shock, because I think that is something that everybody kind of experienced. I'm going to first share Ron Rivera's press conference from Wednesday. Remember, he told us on Monday, on Wednesday, I should have some answers to your personnel questions. And that's what I said on Wednesday. On Monday, I said, oh, by the time we all talk again on Thursday, there'll definitely be some things to discuss for certain. There's going to be some stuff to talk about. And we had the reaction show, and it was a lot to talk about. While we share the Ron Rivera press conference, drop in the chat what you think about what he has said in the press conference. Check it out.
I saw the flurry of activity. We traded Montez Sweat to Chicago and Chase Young to San Francisco. Trading Montez was something that really tough decision, but something that we felt was in the best interest of the football team. We really appreciate everything Montez had did for us. A heck of a football player who came in and did some nice things and really fit well. But again, this football is a very difficult business, and a lot of things change and things happen. And so we made the decision. Really do appreciate everything that Montez did for us, and want to wish him the best in Chicago as he finishes up, his opportunities there. As far as Chase is concerned, because the 49ers are on their bye week, slowing the process down a little bit, I can't comment on that until it's done. So I'll be happy to talk about Montez or New England.
So with Montez, for a while there, it sounded like you guys wanted to try and extend him. And does this signal a shift in maybe thinking of how you want to try building the roster going forward, or what changed in that?
Well, I think, again, when you look at some of the things that have happened for us this year and in terms of growth and development, and looking at what's happening at the quarterback position, we feel really good about who Sam is becoming for us. And again, looking at some of the things that are going on, and with the compensation we're getting for these players, it's going to give us an opportunity to continue to build for the future and do things a little differently. There may be a little bit of a shift in terms of the paradigm and how we're going to construct things, and been a lot of things that we have talked about. It's been an interesting 10 days probably as far as those things are concerned.
And obviously when you trade two guys like this, I know you can't talk about Chase, but when you make these kind of moves, from the outside, people are going to look at like, oh, you're 3-5. They're getting rid of two of their, better talents, are they starting to, for lack of a better phrase, punt on the season? And so how would you address, and how would you?
No, what I would say is, based on some of the things that we've seen and some of the growth and development we have, it's an opportunity to see what else we have. It's an opportunity to go out and, win football games using different guys. And we feel that we have an opportunity to go out and play well. We look forward to seeing what some of these young guys can do. We do think that, there's every opportunity in front of us. And, I've gone through this before. In 2014, I went through the same thing. We were late in the season, and we put a bunch of young guys that we felt had the opportunity or deserved the opportunity and put them out on the field and ended up in the playoffs. We won some games that gave us a chance. Do we have that opportunity? I think this is what this is. I think it's the same kind of an opportunity. We do feel strongly about the quarterback. It's something that, I talked about in the offseason. I've talked about through training camp. I've talked through the beginning of the season about the growth and development, and we're seeing it. And so we want to see what we have and see if we can win football games and put ourselves in that same position.
Ron, are those guys still here if you were able to beat Philly last week?
Well, again, that's something I'm not going to speculate about. What I'm going to talk about is where we are right now and again, what we're doing.
And then obviously you're consulting with Josh Harris during this process. What was that like to be working with ownership on on this deal?
Well, for the most part, the process, probably started about 10 days ago. Our front office fielded a few calls about some of our players. And when we talked about it, one of the things we talked about was gathering information and what potentials were for some of our guys. We talked about that. We talked about what the plan should be in terms of decisions being made. And then we did reach out to Mr. Harris. We had a nice conversation about that. We talked about our plans, basically. We talked about what the potential could be and what the compensation could be. And he liked the ideas. He agreed with the ideas. And so we were all aligned, everything from coaching to personnel to Mr. Harris. And with that, we went out and, the front office, they did the deals that they did yesterday.
Ron, were you actually able to say your goodbyes to Tez and Chase yesterday? And what were those? Because there's a human element, right?
Right, there's a human element, and it's always difficult to say goodbye. And so when you get those opportunities, you do. And as far as I'm concerned, that stuff stays private.
The message to the team, because, again, that human element.
Right.
Teammates, brothers with Tez and Chase.
Absolutely.
What was your message to the guys today?
Well, the biggest message more than anything else was, guys, it's always difficult when you say goodbye to guys that help you and help grow and develop together. But it's also part of the business. It's the business side of it, and that's never easy. And for us, the biggest thing more than anything else is this is creating some opportunities for some other guys. It's creating a different opportunity for us as a football team, and we've got to take and make the best of it.
If you have just tuned in, you're watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. Now, I'm your host, Seawald. This is a live Bowie television recording, and we've already discussed for the weekly DMV Sports Hot Topic the first 4 games of the Wizards season, and now we are discussing the Washington Commanders as they head into Week 9 versus the New England Patriots. This week, they traded defensive ends, that is plural, Montez Sweat and Chase Young on Tuesday during the NFL trade deadline. And we're still discussing it because there's still things to talk about as a result. Now, here's what I would like to say. Typically, and Darrell has already jumped in here. My colleague Darrell, what did he say right here? He's already telling y'all to answer. Man, they looked sad in the locker room. The locker room is a sad situation right now. But let me just get back to typically when you see teams trading for players, they're doing that because they're either in win now mode or they believe that is a critical piece to their future. When you see, we know that the Bears have they 2-6. They did demolish the Washington Commanders. I like to say that's what happened, but that's one of their 2 wins. That's where Montez is going. And it's likely that they will try to extend him or put him into a long-term contract, at least try to. Chase Young has gone to the San Francisco 49ers. And I think everybody knows and understands what type of time the San Francisco 49ers are on, right? Typically, when there are trades for players, that is a team that understands the value of the player that they went and got. They're like, listen, we're not concerned with a pick. That's somebody we want right now. Trades are not demotions. Some people look at trades as though, no. For the team actually picking up the player, they have actually added something that they want now. When you typically get a team that is trying to they want to trade for picks, that is a team that is now planning for the future. The future. Not a team trying to get better today for week 9, week 10, through week 17. I asked a question on Monday night, which was, we've heard several times Coach Ron Rivera and others say they believe in the team that they have right now. Even after the game, the quarterback number 1 that you believe so much in, Sam Howell, said, we believe in the locker room we got right now. Who's to say we can't go out there and win 9 straight with the team we have right now? We can win with this team. We got to figure it out. All right. Okay. We've heard them say all we needed was 2 ball-hawking corners. Use that in the first and second round pick last year. Have also heard them say they were just a quarterback away. So now I'm assuming Sam Howell is that quarterback. Say all you needed was an offensive coordinator that could work with that young quarterback. You definitely got that in Eric Bieniemy. You do have that. I also remember a time or two when Coach Rivera said one of the things that he regretted in Carolina was splitting up that defensive line. Remember, I told y'all, may he rest in peace, Rich Taylor. First thing he told me, I asked him, do you have any advice for me? I'm going to bring this up all the time. He told me, watch what they say. Watch what they do, excuse me. Don't listen to what they say. Let me get it straight. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. So I've listed out several statements we've heard the leadership say. Several statements. And then you went ahead and traded not 1, but 2 of your defensive ends. Value adds for those teams. Traded for picks, future 2024, right? Okay. But you said you still gonna play this game and you gonna win. You're gonna try to win. Anybody seeing a disconnect here? Just making sure it's not me. Because I'm going down the list of statements. And I'm trying to align them all to what you said. And here's the reality. We all already know. Yeah, Ron can talk all that we. If you listen to Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio's press conference earlier today, he made it very clear that he ain't had nothing to do with those trades. He said, that's not my role. I stay in my lane. I do my role. He had nothing to do with that. Okay? If it's one thing I do in my journalism career, is it's exactly what is right here that DJ Black. Oh, I keep receipts. I listen very well. I'm an active listener. I'm an active engager. I pay attention to everything, and I treat them as statements. I'm not gonna make no assumption about what you said. And if I have a question about something you said, I will come up to you later when the camera's not rolling. I'm gonna ask you what you said. I will, to make sure we're clear. I had to call it a clarifying question. Oh, I have a clarifying question. Who we gonna believe? Are we gonna believe that you're still trying to win football games in this season? Or are we going to believe that you are preparing for the future? You all tell me in the chat what you believe. Now, few people have been asking me my evaluation of the Pigs. I think that the team got what they were worth, what the players were worth. That's exactly what I believe. They're going to do well because they are heck of a football players. They are. I understand 31st defense, numbers don't lie, they're losing football games. But let me tell you, those two right there, those two assets, those valuable assets, guess what? Those were the two players that teams sought out the most. No team want anybody that's not good. That doesn't happen. So let's just all call it what it was, right? You said we got to make a move. The ownership said, hey, get us what we can get back for the most valuable assets that you have so we can get this show rolling. Now, don't be surprised. I'm going to go ahead and forewarn you all. Do not be surprised if you see better scheming, better coaching. Don't be shocked at all if you start to see that. Why? Because the signal has been sent that folks are now coaching for their jobs. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm serious. Like we all don't have to lie to kick it. But we understand that there's things that have to be said in front of the media where everybody's watching and in the public. But don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. Now, let's move on to some of the locker room talk. A few words here from Terry McLaurin.
As players, do you view that as like a reset or a rebuild? How do players kind of see the direction the franchise is taking when they trade to the top defensive players?
We don't really know the mindset behind it, honestly, because they don't tell us the mindset. But, I just think from the business standpoint, you just know that's always a possibility. You hate to see guys you get a personal relationship with go and move on. But it's not the end of their playing career, so I know we'll be able to see them guys go to a new place and have success. But as far as like reset or all those things, I don't think it's necessarily something that the players talk about.
But are you curious, like, because you're a team captain, you want to win, you're competitive. Are you curious as to what direction they're kind of thinking and taking with this?
I think my focus is just being better than I was last week, to be honest. I can't really focus on what they're doing in the front office, so I just try to focus on what I'm doing on the field, helping my teammates be the best they can.
Terry, I wonder too, like, you obviously lose a couple starters, a couple good players. What does it tell the locker room? How you make sure that the locker room doesn't get either down about it or whatever, it doesn't become like an issue or anything?
Well, I think first we're all human, you know what I mean? We all have grown affinity for those two guys that left. They've been here for a while. They've helped us win games. They've been tone setters. Chase was a captain. So from a human standpoint, you're going to miss those guys and their presence from a personal standpoint. But as players, we know that, again, this is a business and things like this happen. So we can't let it trickle into next week. And I know the guys who are stepping up in their roles are excited to get more playing time and show what they can do. And Casey and James have been here for a while, and they've done a good job when they've gotten opportunities. So I definitely expect them to continue to do the same thing.
text with those guys or reach out at all?
I haven't got the chance to reach out to them yet. I know they've got a lot going on in
Sure.
the past 24 hours, so I'm going to definitely take the time probably before Sunday to reach out to them and just wish them good luck and tell them I miss them and stuff.
How'd you hear about it?
If you have just tuned in, you're watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. I am your host, C. Wall, and this is a live Bowie television recording. We've gone through the hot topics this week. We've already covered the Wizards. We're into the Commanders right now. Hit that love button. Keep sharing the show for anybody that wants to join in the live discussion. There's still time because we still have content to share. So I'm going to keep moving this forward. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go ahead. If Chase was undisciplined, it wasn't. That report is untrue. And we're gonna leave that there. Untrue. And if he was all you got to do is look. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. If he was that undisciplined, why would John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan want him? There's that. And a couple weeks ago, when asked about Chase Young, Ron Rivera made it clear he's always done everything we've asked him to do. That's what the coaches tell him to do. Do your job. They tell him what to do, and they're just doing what they're being told to do. Sad locker room. Sad locker room. Today, a little bit better, but out at practice, it was like you could hear a pin drop. Those guys, their presence is absolutely missed. You all have saw me post that one of the things I was interested in seeing was the aftermath. I wanted to know, will you feel that void in the locker room? And absolutely yes. Chase Young and Montez Sweat were forces to be reckoned with in that locker room. On that field, that practice field. As I said on my post, they engaged with every single position group. Everybody. And at the end of that clip that we shared of Terry, what did he say at the end? And I'm going to tell him I miss him. Because I miss him. I was like, whoa, it's so quiet. Everybody's so quiet. They had energy. They had energy with them, and everybody was gonna come with that same energy. Everybody was gonna come. They was smiling, and this and the third. That was not the case on Wednesday. I'm gonna tell you the truth. It was not at all. Today was a little bit better, right? It's lightening up. But as somebody shared with me earlier today, a couple of people shared with me, it was, hey, this is a process. It's going to take some time. It's going to take them a little bit. Now, I want to go back to something else that Terry said at the very beginning, and it was, they don't tell us the mindset. Let's talk about that. Because I started talking about communication. You all have heard me talk several times on this show about the message and the messenger and what's being said and what's not being said that should be said. And here's the thing. If everybody's been hearing, we believe in this team right now, we know we can go far. Do your job. This doesn't imply that Chase and Montez didn't do their job. And then you heard Terry say, hey, listen, I'm just trying to be better than I was last week. And yes, because you dropped 2 passes last week. I'm just being real. Everybody knows I am about Terry, but let's just be for real. Because if you see someone get traded who has been playing at the level that they have been playing, and they got traded again, it's not a demotion. They're going in other places and will be utilized accordingly, right? You heard going back to Jack Del Rio and Jack, and hey, but he said about Chase, he's a great young man. I mean, what you going to say? You traded his assets away. He didn't have nothing to do with it. He didn't want, this is what it is. But you can't keep saying things, then you do things, and you don't tell your players who you just said, I believe in this team right now. This is what we can do. We got our quarterback. We got our offensive coordinator. We got our ball hawking cornerbacks. we gonna go out here and do this. Now I'm gonna focus on that, because let me be clear, I absolutely understood what the owners have done. I absolutely understood it. I understood it because I understand bottom line. Bottom line, you're 3-5. It's the trade deadline. There's assets on this team that other teams want. Trade them. Ownership, that's just ownership one-on-one. 3-5. You've gone down 3 games in the division. What you gonna do now? Get them out of here. You know, they don't have no ties to them. What difference does it make to them? It's get something out of it. I understand that, but there's still an obligation, in my opinion, to share with the players what is going on. Or they don't tell us a mindset. At the end of the day, we know that it's a business, so we just, you know. Everybody gonna act like, so everybody just supposed to act like they gone, and they just. I'm gonna go back to what Terry said, and that was, I'm gonna tell. I know they've been through a lot in the last 24 hours. I'm gonna text them before Sunday and let them know, wish them luck, and let them know I miss them. So anybody that's got anything to say, just go ahead and share this show. Let it be known. Tag them in the post. This isn't some see you wouldn't want to be you. There's clearly a disconnect in where these guys played a huge role in the every single day habits and practice time with their teammates. When I come on this show and I tell you all that they are brothers and they love each other and they're going to have each other's back and all of those things on the social media, everything, they see the negativity. They talk about it. They do. And they are, I told y'all. I told y'all, that's what it is. The same, and here's the other thing, and then I'm going to switch over to video of Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams, the new Montez and Chase Young, I suppose. The locker room and culture that Ron Rivera has worked so hard to build. What is going to happen to it? Because when you're not communicating the mindset as leaders, communicating, because see, here's the thing. If you communicating the mindset accurately at the beginning of the season, this is what we're here to do. We're here to win at least 12 games. We're here to win at least 10. We're here to win the division. We're here to get to the playoffs. We're here to get to Super Bowl. And everybody understands that, then it shouldn't be a surprise. You could be a little sad, but not a whole lot of sad, because you already understand when the trade deadline comes up, wherever the most valuable assets are, chances are you're out of here, depending on the situation. Everybody should understand. It doesn't have to be warm and fuzzy messaging all the time. But it is a lot of warm and fuzzy. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. And then you go ahead and trade 2 starters, a Montez Sweat and a Chase Young. And then you don't explain to anybody the mindset behind it. Okay. You didn't tell nobody. Because what are we supposed to win now still? And somebody on this chat understands what I'm talking about. In leadership, in organization, that's exactly what it is. So you do something and shake it up, and people don't know whether to be scared, cry. What just happened? I thought y'all said we was gonna win 9 straight. We not winning 9 straight no more. It was already far-fetched. But do you think we can win 9 straight still, or we're just gonna wait till the new guys get here next year? Communication matters. It matters. It matters. It is a part of leadership. It is a part of who you are supposed to be as a leader, is be able to communicate even when the message hurts and when it's tough. So next up, video from Casey Toohill and James Smith-Williams.
I'm sure it's bittersweet because they were teammates, but also now you and James Smith get more reps, playing time. How excited are you for this opportunity?
Yeah, it's always exciting, but I think you just really can't focus too much on that, right? I don't think, like I said, much changes. Like, I don't think my preparation changes, whether I was playing, 10 reps or if I'm playing 30 or 40, whatever it is. So just, keeping that same mindset, just enjoying every day here, and just preparing the best I can, and that's all I'm focusing on.
Okay, so you guys did, when you guys had to play a couple years ago, you guys did a pretty good job, and the defense did a really good job. Where do you feel you're a different player even from that?
I mean, don't want to speak for James as well, but I think we're both better players, more experience, played a lot more games. I think we're just, been in the system longer. I think we're better all around. So I don't know what that's going to result in, but I think we just have we both have a lot of confidence in ourselves that we're going to do the jobs to the absolute best of our ability.
Casey, what was just your reaction when you first heard the news that both Chase and Montez were gone?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I think everyone was, right? I didn't have any inside information. I think, they didn't know, we didn't know. So very surprised. And also, it's sad, like I said, because I really respected and liked those guys a lot. But at the end of the day, it's just, that's what's so challenging about being in this business. And it's unlike anything else, right? That can happen at a moment's notice. So yeah, very surprised, but then just had to lock back in for the week.
Like, is it a little weird just here in the locker room looking around?
Yeah, it's definitely weird not having them in meetings. I think it'd be, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't odd at first. But, really, you see that. Maybe it's odd for a second, but then we just have to focus because we got an important game coming up. We have 9 games left in the season, right? So really got to just lock in on this week and take them one at a time. I think it's just on my phone or something. I think online. I think it was just on my phone.
It says still in Chicago media, you got the call decision as you guys were walking the walkthrough.
I didn't see any of that.
Like,
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he did. I didn't see that, and then I just heard the news kind of from him, and then I heard about him, and then I heard the same thing when I was back home about Chase. So, yeah.
Does this take like a mindset shift for you at all?
No, I think if you're thinking about mindset shifts, you're thinking about the wrong way. Like, obviously, there's definitely different responsibilities, and more reps come like different, ways that maybe you need to take better care of your body. There's definitely like an aspect of it that you have to focus on, but for the most part, like if you're not preparing to play and you're not preparing to have to be thrown in there, then you're not preparing the right way. So I think I prepared that way thus far, so I'm going to keep doing that.
Does it feel more important because this would be a bigger role in it's a contract year for you?
Sure. I mean, there's all these extraneous things that I think you can focus on, but like for me, if your attention's there and it's not on what you're doing in the present, then you're really just, hurting yourself and hurting the team. So take them one at a time. I mean, regardless of contract year or not, and then see what happens when it all sorts out. Yep.
Do you lean on Jonathan and them at all?
I mean, there have always been great leaders, right? John's a great friend of mine, but also like, having James, we're close friends. We played a lot together. Everyone in the room, like we have a great room, even though we lost 2 great guys. So lean on each other, lean on the defense, and then go from there.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
It's like kind of the same thing at the cut down day in camp. We come in and it's like, oh, whoa. So it's a similar vibe for sure.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah. It's different.
Yeah, of course.
When you get down to the final 53, there's a certainty that, okay, I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
But then you have a trade deadline, which is like, I'm going to have to move everything.
Yeah.
And just wondering how, as people, we deal with that kind of uncertainty.
I mean, it's tough.
If you have just tuned in, you're watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update, and I am your host, C. Wall. This is a live Bowie television recording, and there's still time to still share this show with your DMV Sports loving family and friends. We've gone through the Wizards. We're on to the Commanders, and I want to address a comment I saw in the chat, and I saw you all chatting it up. This is the beauty sometimes of doing live discussions, right? I saw a question from Terrence Taylor. How are you doing? Love button. Shout out to you that says, why basically would you want to involve football players in a front office decision? I want to make sure I'm being very clear. And that is, it's not getting their concurrence. It's not saying, or a consensus, or saying, do you agree, disagree? It's part of your decision. You are part of the decision-making process. But as a leader, you are obligated to share with your staff what the vision is. So what is the vision now? Is it still, you think we're going to win 9 straight? Are you still saying that we're going off into the playoffs? Was there ever anything communicated that said we needed to win at least 10 games? We need to win at least 12? 5 is your mark for this year because we already know it's a rebuild year because we're focusing on our growth for Sam? Yes, as a leader, you should let them know. You just traded a captain. Chase Young was one of the captains of the team. So, yeah, everybody understands that it's a business, but there still needs to be a conversation that has got to be had to say, and this is how we're moving forward. This is what needs to happen. This is what our expectations are. You may have been shocked or surprised by this message, and you may have been shocked or surprised by these moves. This is how the rest of this season is going to go. Because at this point in time, one thing is for sure, and two things is for certain. Winning with the team that they had, which is a repeated message that they've shared with the players, is not true. So you clearly don't believe that. You made another decision. That's fine. They don't have to be involved with the decision. But when things like that are made with just not one, but two players, one being a captain of the team, yes, I absolutely believe that you should inform your team of the vision. That's all. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I'm glad now that I had an opportunity to break that down to you. And I appreciate my brother in sports media, DJ Bland, also letting you know, all of us in media, us credential media folks, we all not like that. You know what I'm saying? We're not. We're here to do a good job. We're here to be advocates for all of the above. Now, if something ain't right, something ain't right. We're going to call that out too. And that's something I love to do on my show. I'm going to call out when stuff not adding up because I want it to add up. And I'm here to tell you, I will be the first person to tell you, this is not at all what I expected to happen at this point. If you would have told me in the middle of August, the team was going to be 3-5 heading into the trade deadline, they would have lost to the Giants and 2 times to the Eagles, lost in that dismal way to the Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football. If you would have told me that and traded Montez and Chase Young, I would have said, please get out of my office. Get out of my office. You don't even need to be in here. So this is shocking. This is shocking. This is shocking. And that's one of the things that I shared on the reaction show. Terrence, I hope you come back and continue to watch more of these shows and be a part of this Bowie Television Seawall family, because I'm here to tell you, I was actually excited for the first time in a very long time about this season. And this is a shock. And I see what DJ, I didn't expect it at all. This is a real shock right here, buddy. Whoa. Now let's listen in. Shout out to John Keim of ESPN. My phone wasn't working properly to get the recording for the Logan Thomas media scrum. So John Keim sent me the one that he captured. Let's take a listen to Logan Thomas and what he had to say today about the trades. And then, of course, moving forward to focus on the New England Patriots, because like I said at the top of this, you all, they still got games to play.
For us, we just got to bounce, the next 2 guys up, tell them to go play, and they'll do a good job. I mean, we've been in that position before, and it's the exact same 2 guys, so I would expect them to play well.
Were you surprised by the news?
No, I mean, I think the chatter got out way before. I was surprised it was both, to be honest, but I'm happy that we got guys that are going to get opportunities, and I'm happy for them to get a new opportunity as well and make the best out of that.
Big challenge this week going up to New England, facing a Belichick defense. His record against first-year starting quarterbacks is crazy in their advantage. Is that just because the Pats have been good, or he does something specific to slow down younger guys?
I think it's a little bit of both. They've been good for a lot of years, but at the same time, he's very good at what he does on defense and giving multiple looks. And a lot of it is the personnel they play. They play safeties at linebacker. They play safeties at corner. They play linebackers in weird positions sometimes, and all the doubles and chips and all the stuff they do on defense is different. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
You think Sam's ready for that?
Yeah, he'll be fine. He's a competitor. He's been doing a good job this week of knowing where to go with the football when they do give us those looks.
When they give you those kind of different looks, how does that mess with your rules on offense and what you guys have to do up front and just in blocking schemes?
It's rules. At the end of the day, you go back to spots, not people sometimes, and this is kind of how you got to treat it. And at the end of the day, their safeties got to play like safeties, and you know who their bigger safeties are that are going to be in the box, or who their safeties are that are going to cover.
it seems like Sam's been getting the ball out quick. Do you notice that as a pass catcher? Has it kind of changed your internal timing as you're running your rounds?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when he goes through read one, read two, he knows to get to the check down and keep the chains moving instead of, holding the ball and putting things in jeopardy. So, yeah, last week he did a really good job of it, and I'd expect him to keep progressing in that area. Obviously, when he plays down the field, too, but when they're not there, checking it down is good.
We've seen you take a couple of big hits this year. You had the one last year that ended up with the fine. Does there need to be more protection for receivers? Does there need to be something broader for tight ends?
I grew up watching this game old school, man, so I guess the new stuff is good for the health and safety of the game, but I remember when people's heads get taken off, they evaluate them for concussion. Not really. Throw them back out there. So I think that's a big reason why we play this game is the physicality and what it brings. And, obviously I had the concussion this year. Don't want it to happen again. But we know what we signed up for when we play this game.
Is there like a certain number of hurdles you have to get to hit a bonus or anything like that?
Look at my contract. No, it's not in there. I'm just thankful I was successful with this one because I've had many unsuccessful ones.
When you're jumping like that, does anything go through your head, or you're like, I hope nobody's coming over here, or what's?
Well, you really only want to do it when you know your surroundings. So in that one, I knew that I had an ability to get over, and then the hit I was going to take was just going to push me out of bounds or put me down. The scariest part is just if your feet get clipped, obviously. I've seen it before, but yeah, when I was in the air, I was like, that was probably not smart, but it was successful, so we'll take it.
Do you practice it? Do you practice the
Heck no.
Okay.
So again, if you all follow John Keim of ESPN, longtime Commanders beat reporter, tell him that Seawall said thanks again for shooting that audio over to me from the Logan Thomas scrum. Last thing I'll say on the Montez Sweat and Chase Young trades. In terms of my overall evaluation of actually picks, I said this earlier. Yeah, I think that was great. That was decent, good, solid value for them. We won't really know the value until the picks are made and they're playing on the field. We really, really won't know truly how to evaluate it until the picks are made and they are playing on the field. Also, if I didn't say it the other day, let me say it now. Best wishes to Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Chase Young will be back in December as a San Francisco 49er playing at FedEx Field. So best of luck to both of them. And I'm sure I'll be talking about that game once December comes back around. So for those who are still watching, any bold predictions for the Commanders versus the New England Patriots game? We got to move on before we close out. Any bold predictions? Any at all? Will they win? I said earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some better coaching and a whole lot of better everything after this week. Who knows? There could be some surprises. I don't think the team is going to completely fold, but I don't know either. So we'll see what happens. Let's see if there's any bold predictions. And Terrence Taylor's got one. I think, and here we go. You got to do the good. You got to do the positive ones and the negative ones. Commanders get blown down, right? Well, and even Mama Waller, have y'all said hello to my mom? That is my mother right there. She gets into football and sports now too, all because of me. 31-27 Commanders. Listen, they can use a win right now. They can use a win. You all, thank you so much for tuning in. And there's still time to share this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. It's always a pleasure sharing with you all the latest and greatest and hot topic news for discussion in the DMV area. I appreciate you all hanging out with me as long as you do on a Thursday night. I'll be back on live on Monday night for the Washington Commanders update, recapping everything going down in Boston. You all don't let me forget that I got a flight going to Boston early Saturday morning because JP Finlay and Donna Hopkins, shout out to them too, were asking me questions about when I was leaving. And I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to Boston this weekend. So you all be blessed, enjoy, stay safe, and I'm going to be talking to you guys again soon.